Emirates President Tim Clark has steered the world's largest long-haul carrier through some of the biggest turmoils of this generation. The 9/11 attacks, the 2008 financial crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, and now simultaneous wars and Trump 2.0. He spoke with Yasmin Jonkers on the sidelines of the IATA annual general meeting in New Delhi, and he explained how Emirates has been able to weather those storms, including the recent flare-up of tensions between India and Pakistan.
The DNA of the company is such that, we're very much can do, will do. And I often say we'll go round, over, under, but we'll never stop. So whatever happens, we can deal with these things with some degree of dexterity, whether it be what's going on in Ukraine, whether it's going recently here. We've got issues in the Middle East, which are well known. There are many other hotspots which because we're a global player, if you want to be a global player, you've got to be able to deal with these and adeptly and quickly. It's no point saying, well, I'm going to shut down it and hoping it'll go away, because it won't. And with that kind of attitude, over the years that we've been flying, we've become fairly good at what we do. So when this particular one happened, we had it on 24/7 watch, and we responded to the events as and when they happened, and then got going again as soon as they settled down. That's the way we do things. Doesn't really worry us. We never compromise safety, don't get me wrong, and we're not reckless at all.
The latest IATA annual general report actually said that people are very positive about travel, and most people actually have made some plans despite geopolitics, despite tariffs, despite perhaps, tighter purse strings. Let's talk about something that Emirates is doing a little differently. You're rolling out at least 40 retail stores by 2028 in the United States, in Europe, and in Asia. Can you talk to us about the thinking behind that when the whole world is really online?
Yes, that's an interesting question. And of course, as usual, Emirates is bucking the trend. But this isn't about servicing and selling tickets on the high street. It happens behind the glass that we put on the high street, wherever they may. This glass is very special. It's a messaging medium. I could stand in Dubai and communicate to every single window across the world with a message in a hologram form. We can communicate instantaneously the same message through all these shops. So it's a window on Emirates. And if you get it in the right place, and just imagine how things are moving through the day and night, how we can change the content of that glass, and providing you get the right location, the right square footage, meterage of glass, that's what you do. It's a big marketing thing. Now, as we speak, I would expect that within the next 2 to 3 years, everybody else will follow it, because they tend to sort of emulate what we do. But that's simply it. As it happens, behind that glass, we do have the old walk-ins capability. And you'll be surprised, despite the online world and the ability to do on a B2C basis with all our devices, people still come into those offices.
They want to touch and feel.
It was never designed that way, but they're coming in droves. They like to sit. They like to sort of, how are my Skywards miles? Can I upgrade? Have you got any spare seats here? Etc. They can get all of that in the B2C modes. But they just like to go in. And so it adds a little bit of kudos to the way we go about our street side selling. Good fun.
You talked about you possibly, being in a hologram. Would you make yourself that? One of the
It's not necessarily me. It could be anybody. We could say we had a celebrity, of which we'd have to pay. And could be. And we ask them to just communicate. So suddenly you're walking down the street and there's Penelope Cruz talking. If we use and there's a lot of interest in what we're doing there. So that's the whole reason we're doing it. That's why we're doing it. And we'll roll out more, as they're proving to be very successful, very interesting. The trick is to keep the content changing, and you don't have a static display, as so many airlines. We all used to do that, sort of 380 in the window, and that was it. But now the whole thing's moving.
Okay.
And good fun.
Look forward to that. Sounds quite dynamic. Finally, let's just wrap with your thoughts on Emirates minimizing risk in the era of Trump tariffs. What's the guiding principle for you?
Well, I'm one of these believers. President Trump said in his first term, I'm going to put tariffs on on the countries that impose tariffs on us. This wasn't new, and during the course of the hustings up to the November election, he banged on about this at great length, what he was going to do with it. So when it happened, was it any surprise that he actually did it? And there was the same question about NATO and not performing as perhaps they should have. He made these statements, and he was elected on that basis. So what we have now is the Trump administration trying to reset the balance, and until that is rebalanced to his satisfaction, there's going to be noise and activity. Is there any sign of a fall off in demand for travel as a result of that? Not that I can see. Is it affecting freight? Is it affecting, of course, when there were 140% of the Chinese product, the freight market across the Transpac stopped. So there was an immediate effect on that. But then once again, it came down again. So people are saying, we'll just wait and see how this pans out. It's not in America's interest to have huge tariffs on everything because of all the obvious economic reasons. But all he's doing is trying to send a message that for all these years, you have had the better card in the game. So I need to get that reset. We'll see how that works out in the end. But as I said, the resilience of demand post-COVID, and people have been through to hell and back in COVID, lockdown for months and months and months, and it's steeled them to say, I have to move. I want to move when I can. And that is still going on at the moment. I'm not saying it's a temporary thing. I'm not saying that it's going to end suddenly, but if there was a paradigm change as a result of COVID, it was the other way. Demand was kicked in into a far greater level than we ever saw before. So long may it last.